I'm very glad my lockdown experience was better than this family's. We need to do something, especially about that fucking work that's going on. So in We Need to Do Something, we're following Melissa and her family who are seeking shelter from a storm, so they all hide in their bathroom. But what ends up happening is this storm rips through the house and a tree falls in front of the door and they're just locked in this bathroom together. I went into this because I thought it was quite an interesting premise. I am a huge fan of a claustrophobic movie because I think that challenges any filmmaker when they know that they're limited to like one space, or they have, you know, not a lot to work with, so they have to kind of bring in a new element to it. There's not many new elements brought in this one, unfortunately. So the opening to this film is tense as shit. Like, it's really good. It's just a slow build up, a kind of showing across this city or this town before the storm hits. The only times we see outside of the room is when it's a flashback from Melissa showing, you know, when she's met her girlfriend, their kind of a few interactions they've had in their relationship. Other than that, we are in this room, and they make a point quite early on, thankfully, of just highlighting that they can't break out because the door, the walls and the glass are all far too thick to break through. Although, why is it when they're locked in a claustrophobic space, like half the time they write in a snake, a fucking snake, every time, and that's the threat? It's something quite low-key, but it's there, and it fucking shows up again here. Now, the fact you didn't see outside the room, like in present day with the flashbacks, I thought was really cool. I really liked that choice. You hear things outside the door, but you don't ever get to see it. The most you see is when the dad's pushing open like a few inches, and the camera's outside the door showing the tree falling, but the focus is on him inside the door, so you don't even really see anything there. I like that. It leaves the imagination open because you just don't know what the hell is going on outside here. Now, for this family, so you've got Melissa, her younger brother, who is just like the innocent bystander here. You've got the mum, who seems a bit repressed in the relationship, like she seems to have really good bonds with the kids, but then you've got the dad, who seems like the neglectful, just focuses on his job asshole type. So in the film, there's a steady kind of decline for each of the characters, which makes sense. They're trapped in this room together. Because we don't get to see them at their peak, we also now don't get to see their decline. So the film ends up not really having too much of an impact on where the characters end up, because we don't know how far they've fallen. They might have been like this their entire lives, or the room has absolutely fucked them. For example, the dad is clearly an alcoholic because he's tanning mouthwash. He ends up even sucking on a wet wipe because there's alcohol in those as well. Don't know what he's like outside of that. So you just get all the kind of stereotypes in here. And moving on with stereotypes, Melissa's girlfriend is a goth. So this is the other side of the movie. So whilst you've got their decline within the bathroom, it also cuts back to show Melissa's girlfriend as a goth and into like spells and witchcraft and all this. And there's a guy in the town that's just weird and creeping them out. So they cast a spell on him so that anything he says, it works back on him or some shit. The problem is, it comes out that they used some wrong ingredients in the spell. Melissa just has a guilt for the whole movie, thinking all of this is on her, because what's outside the door isn't silence. You know, there's moments where there's gunfire going off, some creature which even talks, which, looking up the credits for this, is Ozzy Osbourne. Didn't see that coming, by the way. So you just are left to imagine what the fuck that was, which is good, you know. I do like when it's left up to your imagination, but as it goes on, the dad just becomes the abusive, drunk or alcoholic dad and just takes out everything on his family. We've seen it so many times before, and unfortunately nothing really new is done here. He plays the role well, but also the mum plays the role really well of just a loving mum. These two forces don't work well in this room together, and again, because you don't know how they normally function as a couple, it just feels very broken up here. And Melissa, by the way, she is way too old to still fucking believe in spells and witchcraft and all of that other shit. And there's an ambiguity to the film of, did they actually cause the tornado and whatever the hell else is going on? You don't quite get an answer to that question, which is on purpose. You know, not everything needs to be definitive. I will say there's one scene, so when they're trying to open the door at the very start, Melissa drops her phone out the front door, just can't get it again, it's out of reach. That's fine, the movie's dealt with her not having a phone in a fairly believable way. Cool. Later though, the Dad picks back up the phone when it's ringing, answers it, and talks to somebody. You don't know what this person says. The dad kind of snaps on this call, isn't in her head or his, because then he gets rid of the phone again and they react to that moment. So it's clearly happened, but who the fuck's phoning? If it was something happening outside of the house, that's fine, but I don't get what is going on here. Now, not only she got flashbacks to those moments with her girlfriend, she also visualizes a lot or hallucinates a lot of weird moments, and they are quite creepy. I will say the effects in this movie, for it being very low key, aren't too bad. You know, you really do feel for Melissa's guilt weighing on her throughout this whole movie. But then with her hallucinations, her guilt weighing on her, and what you realise about her like goth girlfriend as well, you can't be sure that it's just a tornado, because they're questioning why the neighbours haven't gotten in touch, why there's not been any rescue teams, and it's not like the film tried to tell some kind of story or some kind of message about abusive relationships or abusive fathers and not messing with spells. All of it just kind of happens very surface level. The mystery is about, did they cause it or not, and in either case, what the fuck's going on outside the door. And the ending to this film, it's going for like a really serious ending. I fully appreciate that. However, I could not stop laughing at the acting, the writing, what the fuck the characters were doing in it. This film has some moments that are, you know, deeper, darker, they weigh on you, and it can be, you know, the dad and the mum having a conversation when really they shouldn't be having that chat in front of the kids. Other bad shit that goes on, like the snake battle. Oh my god, snake battle. The snake shows up a couple of times. One time it's really intense, the other time it really isn't. I don't know why they failed so hard the second time. I don't quite know what the hell happened here. I know this is based on a novella, which I've not read, but the film should still have a decent ending, and it's a mixture of hallucinations, the mystery still continues, and the acting and the writing and just the moment going on is so ridiculous. You cannot help but just laugh. And I don't honestly think that that was their intention, was for this to be funny. I honestly think it was still trying to be a really serious horror movie. If you like your claustrophobic movies, you can certainly do a lot worse than this. But that being said, there's definitely better out there. Look, if you've got the time, you want to see something newer. I know films are a real mixed bag right now, it feels. Probably because of COVID and lockdowns and restrictions and all this. But if you've got the time, sure, go ahead and watch it. It's a bit different. It just keeps you in the room. Just don't prepare yourself for answers, that's all I'll say. But I'm sure you could come to your own conclusion, that's all. So look, that was some of my thoughts on We Need to Do Something. Have you seen it? If you have, please do let me know what your thoughts are down below. Do you agree with me or not? And look, if you want to see more that I've got coming out, please do hit subscribe. I love to see it. It lets me know that you want more of this content. But thank you so much for watching.